Hi everybody, and a huge welcome to our new series, which is Back to Basics. It's all about how to start when you want to make a junk journal. And I know when I first started, I watched loads and loads, as we all do, YouTube videos, and was still a bit befuddled really. People would say, you just stick that there, but not explaining to me why or what ultimately was, the reason behind things. So I'm hoping that this series will take you right through from this stage, just a block of paper, to a completed little journal. That's the plan. So, the paper, making the signature. What is a signature? Well, a signature is a group of papers that you collect together and you fold in half, and that's your signature. And it can be one sheet, it could be many, many sheets, but I'll explain to you quite what happens with them, etc. Now, the paper I've chosen is this. It's by Office Depot. It's glaring off the light there. It's Office Depot, and I buy mine in the UK from Viking Direct. They have it as coloured paper, although it is 160 GSM or £60 if you're in America. So it's got quite a bit to it, and it's sort of easier to work with for beginners, I think. The thinner paper can be a little bit tricky sometimes. So, this is what I'm going to stick with, the 160 or £60 paper, and I've opted to choose pink. Now you can choose white, you can choose cream or ivory or any other colour that suits, but I have a 12 by 12 paper pad here, this one, and I thought pink would go quite nicely with it. It's actually called Tender Spring, and I'm aware we're doing this in autumn, but it doesn't matter at all. It's just a very pretty pad. And that's what I'll be using throughout. It actually comes, I just realised the other day, with some more added extras, which are these. I mean, some say happy birthday, which obviously we don't want, but there's a dove there, sunny day, a watering can with some flowers in, etc. So they might come in quite useful to decorate with, but you don't need this exact kit, but you probably will need a 12 by 12 pad. Now, if you're in the UK, I recommend that you either go to the Works, the shop The Works, or have a look at the Works online. They do some very, very nice pads at very reasonable prices, so that might be a place to start to get your 12 by 12s. You could have a look at Hobbycraft as well. They tend to be a little bit more expensive, or The Range. They do the same good paper at not very expensive prices. Right, so let's get our signature making underway. So how many pieces of paper do we need? Well, let's have a look. Let's take one out. Taken two out. We'll leave that one to the side. Right. So I've just put my block of paper out of the way just now while we look at this. So it's just one sheet, and fold it lengthways like this, and be quite precise about your folding. Like that. Make sure your corners are exactly right on both sides, and then just squash it out and flatten it like that. So you've got a crease in the middle. Now this is where our first gadget tool comes in. This is a bone folder. They come in many, many shapes and sizes. There's another bone folder, for example, a different one. It doesn't matter really. You could actually just use the end of your scissor handle and flatten that down. So don't rush out and buy a bone folder, not at this stage. As I say, you can just use the handle of your scissors and it does a very similar job. If, however, you are wanting to rush out and buy a bone folder, I would recommend this sort. It's Teflon, and it's just very superior. I think they're possibly a bit more expensive, but you know, they do a fabulous job. I really recommend the Teflon ones. Okay, so here's our one sheet of paper. We've folded it over, and that's going to go in our journal. So all of a sudden, from one sheet of paper, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 sides in our journal. So when that's attached into the journal, we've got 4 pages there. Now, how many pages do we want? Well, let's fold another one. And take your time and get it absolutely perfect. And then just fold that. Take your bone folder, your scissor handles, whatever, and just crease down there so it's nice and sharp. And we'll put that in there. Right, now it's beginning to look a bit more like a journal. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sides to decorate. Well, you might think that's enough. You might think you don't need any more than that, and that's fine. If you just want to go with that, that's fine. It'll be very slim, but it will still, you know, qualify. It'll still be a journal. But I'm going to add, well, definitely going to add one more, and then have a look at it and see what it feels like and looks like. But I think ultimately I'm going to go for 4. And that will give us 16 sides to decorate, which is probably enough for a starter journal. So there we are, that's 12 sides now. It's all looking very nice. And I'm just going to add one more. There's nothing says as you progress that you can't add more if you want to. You definitely can. But I think for the moment we'll go for 4 sheets folded over, which will give us 16 sides. So crease that in. Put that in there. Right. Lovely. That's perfect. It's a really nice little would-be journal. Now, the other thing that I always put in, most junk journalers add to their, dear me, do the housework, add to their junk journals are pages from books, perhaps, or, well, lots of things. We'll have a talk about that. So here I've got this little book, Wildflowers, Ferns and Grasses. It was from a charity shop. It cost $1.99. And it's just full of things, pictures that you might want to include in your journal. Very nice. I do like that cornflower here. Now, what you're looking for when you buy your books from a charity shop, open them up and see if they've been sewn in. Can you see those stitches down there? They're white, so they're a bit tricky to see. But it's been stitched in, and that's what you're looking for, really. So what you need to do is take either a sewing machine quick unpick or a little pair of nail scissors and just go under those stitches and clip them. Like that. Now then, what happens is the whole page now comes out like that. So you've got a double-sided page which will fit in your journal. So let's just have a look. Let's put that in the first page there. So that's lovely. It fits both in height and width. I know it's not as tall as the journal page, but that just kind of adds interest to it. If they're all the same, it begins to be a bit, well, samey really. So that's one inclusion there. Let's have a look and see what else we've got. I've got this book here, which is A Hand Guide to Wild Animals of Britain and Europe. Once again from a charity shop. I can't see a price on that, but it wouldn't, rest assured it wouldn't have been expensive. But I quite like this page. It's all the sort of deer of Europe. And this side we've got seals. And this side we've got other deer as well. So I quite like that. So let's snip that out. Now you could have books on butterflies, moths, ladies' clothing, anything that you are interested in. I'm just going to keep this fairly sort of naturified, but the whole journal won't be naturified. Just these pages. So now I've snipped all of those, I can just pull that out. Oh, I don't think I've snipped one properly there. Missed one of the threads. This is the thing they hide. They hide right down in it. So let's see if we can pull that out now. Yeah, that's it. So I've got that, but if I wanted to use this one, for example, then I can just pull it out as well, and the one after it. You know, once you've snipped those threads, the world's your oyster. You can choose what you want. So let's put this one in then. So I've got one there. So let's put it there. And I think actually I probably want it the other way. I want to see this. So all I'm going to do is just fold it on the crease it was folded on in the book and put it that way on. I like that better. So let's have that there. Same thing, it's got plenty space top and bottom, a little space at the side. So this is when we walk through the book, this is what we're going to see. And when we flip it open, that's what we're going to see. And on the other side, we're going to see the seals and then the other part of the deer. So I quite like that. That's all right. Now, what I've got here is a school exercise book. You can use this, you can use guest checks, you can use ledger, you can use whatever comes into your mind that you have. So this one, I've just opened the staples and it just makes it easier to get that out. Now then, let's have a look and see. So I've got that there. So this one's going to go here. I'm just going to crease that edge in actually because it's not creased in very well. And I don't think it's absolutely central either. So we'll just do that while we're at it. That's that. Just whiz up there with your bone folder like that. Okay, so this is going to go here. Like that. So we're okay for height. It's sitting within the pink, so we're okay for height. But it's too wide. Well, that's no good. We don't want that. So you've got alternatives here. You've got choices you can make. You could cut that off down there, in which case it would fit in really well. You could fold it over like that, and then you would have a little tuck spot, which I'm favouring at the moment. Yeah, I think I'll do that. So I'm going to fold over. I'm folding over 2 inches. That takes me to there. And I'm an inch, almost, well, an inch and a half from the edge. So they don't all have to be straight, is what I'm saying. So let's just fold that up using the line to guide me and crease that in. So there you are, we've got a little tuck spot, and you could tuck something in there. You could glue along here and here, make a pocket, but more about that later. Right, So the other side of it, this side, I could cut off or just fold it in again. I quite like the idea of folding it in again, but I'm going to make the flip on this side this time. So I'm going to do it about the same measurement. It's about 2 inches. And I've got lines on my paper, so it's making it very easy to get square. So there we are. It's a flip on that side as well. Right, so what have we got so far? Where are we? That's lovely, isn't it? When you open the first page, you see that. That's really nice. And then the deer and elk and stuff. And then our graph paper flip. And that brings us into the centre. Now, I'm not going to do anything with the centre right at this moment. We will be doing something with the centre, but not just quite yet. That's excitement to come another day. Right, now then, you will notice when you make yours that the pages creep. They just do. Everybody's does. It's not something you're doing wrong. It's just they can't all fit into that exact V. So what you need to do is push them down into that V as far as you can, so they're all fitting really quite tightly. And let me introduce Gizmo and Gadget number 2, which are these fabulous little clips. They're tiny little, but they are mighty. And I think they're described when you purchase them as quilters clips or knitters clips. They weren't designed with junk journalers in mind, but they are fabulous. So let's just push those into there as tight as you can. Go right in with your thumb and just put a clip there. Same there, just push it in as far as you can and put a clip. Now offset your clips, don't put them at the same place, otherwise you won't be able to fold your paper in. Make sure, if you're not sure they're straight, just do that on your mat and you'll get them straight. So yeah, that's that. So let's do the same at the other side. Just push them right into that corner, fold line that you've created, the score line, and clip that, and then the other side. Right, so there we are. It's still folding over, but we've got those clipped tightly. Right, so what are we going to do about this creeping? Because it looks awful. Well, what we are going to do is cut it off. Now, there's lots of different ways you can do this. You can just hold it down, hold it tight in your hand like that. It's already clipped. And just take your scissors and follow this piece of paper all the way up. It's all right, it's adequate, you'll get a result, but it won't be quite the best result. So there's 2 other alternatives. You can take a ruler, a metal ruler. Oh, magnetised some pins to it. And hold that up there, level with the outside edge. And then take a craft knife or a scalpel or something you've been doing with a wallpapering, whatever, as long as it's sharp, and you can cut that off. Another way of doing it, although it doesn't work so well now we've clipped this, is to use a quilting ruler. That's not a very good example. Like this. And as I say, this isn't working so well because of the clips. But if I took the clips off, you can see quilting rulers are are brilliant. They're great things because you can line up down the side and across the bottom. So you've got 2 lines of reference, which means this third line here has got to be straight. If you're straight along the bottom and you're straight up the side, it's where you cut is going to be straight. It absolutely is. And I would recommend that really for new starters. It's just, these are clipped now nice and tightly, so I'm going to take these off, because ordinarily I personally wouldn't work with clips on. So holding that tight where the clips were, and bring this in. So line your bottom up along one of the inch lines there, and line your sides up perfectly, and you will see when you get them both lined up perfectly, you can cut down there and all will be well. Now, to cut down there, you can use a rotary cutter, and I know I'm throwing a lot of new things at you, but a rotary cutter is so useful and it's safe. This, I have known experienced people do serious damage to the fingers with a scalpel. So until you are really familiar with using it and you've practiced quite a bit, I would say leave that alone for the time being. And yes, it is an expense to get quilting rulers. They're not cheap, but I think they pay dividends. So I've got this lined up along here, and I've got it lined up at the side there. Let's just check it's absolutely perfect. Lined up everywhere. Yep. And this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 3/4. I'm lining that up at 5 3/4. So now what I'm going to do is come in with my rotary cutter, and you won't get it all in one go because there's quite a lot of thicknesses of paper there, but just keep going bit by bit. Keep a firm hand on your quilting ruler, don't let it move, and keep going till you can see there's nothing there. So there we have it, and this is the bits that had crept out. So there we have it, a beautifully square book, all ready to decorate. So join me again for part 2 and we'll actually begin decorating. Until then, get your papers together, get your books or whatever it is that you're going to be using, and make your signature, because this is what this is now. It's a signature. Okay, so I'll see you soon with part 2. Bye.